Okay, folks, so we've got a lot to talk about. Primarily, I want to talk about Dogecoin, as Doges run around without leashes, and as a huge catalyst for the currency comes up in the next 72 hours, it's very important that we talk about whether this is going to $1, what my thought process is on this, and whether you should buy it. And of course, we'll also be giving an update on the stock market as well as all of our favorite plays. And the only thing that I ask of you in return is that you hit that ravishing like button, and also don't forget to subscribe. Okay, quick market update. Growth stocks continue to see some FUD. You're seeing a lot of hedge funds pile into shorting or taking out put options on a lot of these growth plays. And they're making a killing at it. And they haven't stopped either. In fact, Bank of America just put out an information set that showed hedge funds selling more yesterday than they did on any other individual day over the last month. And overall, more than they have at any other time since 2008. And you can clearly see how they just came off a recent short squeeze with them being forced to buy back in just a short bit ago. And by the time the music stops and inflation scares subside, and we don't see interest rates going through the roof in summer and fall, well, you're going to start seeing them flip the script. And luckily for them, much like they convinced tons of people to dump growth stocks during the last couple of months, they'll convince tons of people to buy back in. So it's just business as usual. But from their perspective, there's still enough FUD in the market for them to exploit the downside. Now, in terms of my short to medium term outlook for the growth sector, I continue to see a lot of short squeeze potential as these hedge funds go and push stocks down too far. And like we saw just a few weeks ago, I think the overall niche is about 2 or 3 green days from another huge short squeeze. But I think the better question is whether a short squeeze can actually result in a change of trend. And that's a tough question because if there's enough FUD in the market and there's enough negative catalysts coming up, like strong economic bounces that could create the picture of higher inflation, well, it's definitely possible that short squeezes don't become an upward trend and that short sellers continue to make out like bandits. However, my view doesn't change. If I see a company that I've done the work on and I see it at a higher price, it doesn't really matter if hedge funds are deciding to buy it or sell it on any given day. I think that with a growth stock, you buy it as a long-term play. If it hits your price target, you sell out. If it doesn't, you wait. Or if it's a growth stock that you want to trade off short-term moves, you just trade the chart. You don't believe in the company, you just trade the euphoria and the dysphoria. It gets really messy when you're in the middle. You're like, okay, well, this is a really good company. It's worth a lot more, but it's not trading here. So I'm going to buy it. And then hopefully in 2 weeks, I'm going to realize those profits. But unfortunately, the market right now isn't really rewarding fundamentals. And I would also continue diversifying into different sectors as well as different time durations. Short-term trades continue to be rewarded in this market. For example, in terms of short-term trades, IBIO was one of the winners from today. We briefed on it this morning in the pre-market after they announced a licensing agreement. And at market open, it dropped to 155 and then bounced to 195. Pretty solid. Wasn't like an extreme run or anything. Still, small consistent moves really stack up. And of course, my constant reminder to have a clear entry and exit plan. What would have happened if you held past the break of our blue price strength SMA line, or you didn't at least set a trailing stop loss? Well, you would have lost most of your gains here. So make sure if you're trading these short-term trades, have a clear entry and exit plan. Otherwise, you're just going to be buying and selling when it feels right, and the stock market doesn't care about your feelings, as many of us know. One of our briefing plays from a couple days ago woke up today, RHE. Just to recap, we briefed on RHE Monday morning in the low 9s. It ran up to 16, then it cooled off yesterday. And today it woke up again, going from the high 9s to over 27.72. This is what we call a multi-runner. Stocks that have a history of multi-running are more likely to see a lot of volume because buyers, especially retail, go and they say, okay, well, it ran up to a huge amount before. Let's go ahead and see if we can get there again. That's especially true if a catalyst didn't get enough attention the first time. Play each move individually, lock in profits, and then get out and move on. Not a lot of catalyst runs today. It was a little bit slower than Tuesday and Monday, but TNX wasn't terrible. We briefed on it on their latest strategic acquisition. It gave us that market open rally, but overall fairly lukewarm. Not terrible practice though if you're looking for short-term trades to get your feet wet in. PayPal showed some strength after hours after reporting good numbers. In terms of upcoming earnings catalysts for tomorrow to keep an eye on, we have Square, Roku, GPro, which is GoPro, DDX, and DDog to keep an eye on. All have a history of opportunities around earnings. Okay, now it's time to talk about the Dogecoin. So over the last year, Dogecoin has rallied a casual 25,000%. So a lot of people are like, well, it already did 25,000%. Why not get to 40,000 or 50,000%? Why just stop at 25,000? And a few weeks back in our Dogecoin to the moon video, we did a breakdown of how Dogecoin started, how it was intended as a joke, and yada yada, all things that you guys already know. But we also talked about how it's becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy. Despite people not necessarily believing in Dogecoin, they do believe that Dogecoin is going to have another period of hype that they can then benefit from. The fact of the matter is that the chart suggests that just buying it and waiting for the next wave of hype pays off. That makes people even more and more willing to buy in during each dip and more willing to add to the hype during each hype cycle. And it's gotten so out of hand that Dogecoin's market cap is now $78 billion. million, valuing a holy Shiba coin. Play money twice as much as international big data pioneer Palantir. It also exceeds the market cap of Snapchat, GM, or Ford. And honestly, I actually love what Dogecoin represents. It represents this fact that asset classes, a lot of the time, they're not really based on fundamentals. They're not based on this efficient market. They're based on attention. They're based on momentum. They're based on what people want to buy in the moment because they think somebody's going to buy after them, the greater fool theory. This idea that asset classes over the short term are based on any fundamentals is completely ridiculous, and it's something that we've always been against on the channel. However, we do also talk about fundamentals because over the long run, actual value converges with the fundamentals. I love the fact that these are rallying because it's kind of a middle finger to the media that's like, if it's not based in so-and-so fundamental pattern, then it can't be bought. You can't make money off it. But hey, there's a lot of opportunities in the short-term price fluctuations. But don't be fooled either. Over the long run, real value comes out. But here's the thing with cryptos, it's a little bit of a different ballgame because cryptos are completely attention assets. Their value is based on how much attention is flowing in their direction, what their currency transaction volume is, the strength of the brand image and institutional adoption, and that all comes together to fuel their price. And this weekend, Elon Musk will be going on SNL and has promised to say something about Dogecoin on the show. And of course, he's called himself the Doge father and has been one of the biggest pumpers of Dogecoin as well as cryptocurrency in general. And going on the show is going to create a lot of awareness. But there's two parts to this and there's a deeper story here. The first part is the potential run-up up to the show. People buying Dogecoin in anticipation of a broader audience being introduced to Dogecoin. So they think, hey, after the show, a lot of people are going to be buying Dogecoin, so they want to buy it before Dogecoin even gets that exposure. People who are already familiar with Dogecoin buying it in anticipation of it being pumped. Then there is the potential run-up after SNL. Now, in my opinion, I think this is going to be one of those things where it's like buy the rumor and sell the news. I think that the pre-anticipatory run here is a lot more likely than the post-reaction run. I think that after that, you're going to have a lot of people taking profits, if not slightly before. But there's that, say, 25% chance that Elon Musk just really pushes Dogecoin in the skip. Maybe he shows himself buying Dogecoin. Maybe he says that Tesla's going to be selling in Dogecoin, even if he's just joking. Maybe he literally says buy it, or just anything that's very suggestive of buying Dogecoin. If that happens, in that situation, I'd expect Dogecoin to continue rallying after SNL. But if he's not very suggestive of Dogecoin, I wouldn't expect a massive post-reaction rally. And the reason is because literally it takes time for somebody to go and they haven't heard of crypto before, and they especially haven't heard of Dogecoin. It takes some time for them to go and say, okay, well, I saw that on SNL. I saw Elon Musk talk about it. Then I'm going to go do my own research, and then I'm going to sign up with my own broker, which can take some time once you deposit and set it up, and then I'm going to go buy Dogecoin. That could take a week. The idea that all these new people that weren't exposed to Dogecoin are going to go and buy it in mass right after SNL is definitely not the truth. But if he's very suggestive, it could cause a lot of those Dogecoin supporters or some of the people who are already in the crypto market to go and pour in Dogecoin in anticipation of all of the other capital flowing in the weeks to come. And of course, let me be completely straightforward with you. Do I think that it's a good idea to buy Dogecoin? Well, probably not for most people, but in some situations where you just want to trade it and you're going to do it anyways and you like that risk, well, I'd say it's not the worst. You could play off that pre-anticipatory run. I'm somebody who exists on the extremes. Either I love something and I'm going to buy and hold it through volatility, or I don't believe in something and I'm just going to trade off the hype. With Dogecoin, you have a lot of people that don't believe in it, but just sort of buy and hold it because of the meme value. And I'm totally pro meme and everything like that, but it's just not my style to invest in memes. But let's just take it seriously for a second. Charlie, why do you like Bitcoin but you don't like Dogecoin? First of all, it's important to note that I like Bitcoin because of its brand image and institutional adoption. If it didn't have those two things, I wouldn't like it. I do believe in the blockchain technology, but not all blockchain technology is created equal, and not all crypto assets that use the technology have the same reputation and institutional adoption, nor hold the same promise. Dogecoin has no institutional adoption, and its brand reputation is based on being a joke and a meme. I totally support memes, and I think it would be hilarious if Dogecoin took over the world as a global currency, but it is no Bitcoin. Big disadvantage that Dogecoin has is that its supply is unlimited and it's going to inflate forever, whereas Bitcoin, it has a limited supply, about 21 million. Once all Bitcoins are mined, that's it. Dogecoin, on the other hand, keeps going on into infinity. Pro of Bitcoin, and the reason for its existence, is so that the government with their little fiat currencies can't just print millions and millions of coins. With Dogecoin, you don't have that promise of being a limited supply. And while Dogecoin has been a huge winner amongst cryptocurrencies this year, far outpacing Ether and Bitcoin, it also doesn't have the same network that Bitcoin has. Now, on the flip side, as Dogecoin gets more and more interest, it's becoming more and more profitable for network expansion, for miners to go and mine Dogecoin. And in my mind, going back to the self-fulfilling prophecy, I think that most of you would agree that it's almost inevitable that some catalyst comes up after the SNL in the next couple of months that's going to get Dogecoin rallying again. But does that mean that it makes sense to buy and hold as a long-term investment? I don't don't think so. I'm not a fan of investing in hype, but I am a fan of trading hype. In my opinion, and I think this sounds obvious, but Dogecoin doesn't have the fundamentals to make sense for buy and hold strategy. If you want to get your feet wet in it, I think it does make sense for a trade the hype strategy and then get in and get out, but definitely not as a conviction play. Now the big question is, do I think it has the potential to hit $1 in the next couple of weeks? Well, if Elon Musk gives it enough hype in this skit, and if we see some institutional funds start trying to trade off this momentum, you could definitely see this pass $1 very quickly, because if you just look at the momentum it's had over the last couple of months, $1 is really nothing for it. But as a buy and hold, definitely not. You don't want to fall into that. Anyways, folks, that caps off the video. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us below. What do you think about the Dogecoin? Should you buy and hold it? Is Dogecoin going to take over the world as a global currency? Am I wrong and Dogecoin is actually the cure from everything from war, hunger, cancer, and poverty? Is Dogecoin the real vaccine that we needed for COVID? If any of that is true, go ahead and let me know in the comment section below. And of course, quick plug, this video is sponsored by ZipTrader. Let's be real, a lot of folks struggle with growing their account because they don't have a clear process. They just kind of hop from one strategy or one headline to the other. But similar to an exercise program, oftentimes if you don't have a clear structure, you're going to be very, very demotivated. You're going to quit quickly, and you're definitely not going to have the confidence to stick it out. You're going to feel lost. So the goal of ZipTrader is, of course, to provide you with a step-by-step structure and also allow you to work with our private chat and be briefed every morning on what is happening and where the stock battlefields lie. Anyways, folks, if you are interested, I'll go ahead and put the link below, and you can watch the intro video where this charming gentleman will explain everything you need to know if you want to take the leap and join us. I also just added a coupon code Battlefield75 if you want to get $75 off before checkout. If you're wondering what broker to trade these stocks and cryptos on, well, we like to send new traders over to Webull, and they are offering 2 free stocks, and they have tons of great resources on the broker for you to become the excellent stock and Doge trader that you'd ever want to be. That sounded really awkward, but it's true. I'll put the link below, folks. Anyways, folks, that caps off the video. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.